Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Crappie Anglers of Texas, April 27th meeting. Please join me in welcoming Ed Phillips, owner of Pro Angler, as the new sponsor for Big Fish Division I in the amount of $100 for each qualifier tournament that we have. Ed, would you like to say a few words to the members, please?
Thank you. Basically, most of you all know that I've got two websites. One of them is Be Ready Rod Holders, BeReadies.com, and another one is ProAnglerTackle.com, which is Pro Angler Tackle. And the Be Readies are pretty much for live bait and stainless steel rod holders. Although we don't put it on the website, it's probably the only rod holder that's sold with a lifetime guarantee. And now we're up to 11 different ways to mount it. We now have a side mount. We now have transport holders that you can transport your rods as well as just regular fishing rod holders. Also for Pro Angler Tackle, we're getting new products each time. About every meeting I've got something new. Right now I've got stainless steel pliers and 4 surgical forceps, and I've also got a sickle hook, you know, the Matsoa sickle hook, which is a lot sharper than the laser claw hook. I now have it as a number 2 Aberdeen for minnow fishing. So for your Caps and Coleman rigs, you can't beat those sharp Matsoa sickle hooks at all. But anyway, I appreciate the support that you all have given Pro Angler Tackle and Be Readies, and we're going to continue supporting the club and vice versa. So good luck in the tournament this coming Saturday. We're giving some Be Ready gift certificates and some Pro Angler rods as prizes, so hope to see you Saturday. Thank you.
It's my privilege to introduce to you, and it's going to be a great seminar tonight. Paul's going to share a lot of his secrets. He told me all his secrets, guys, so ask him and everything. But he's also the vice president of the club. He's been the tournament director of CAT ever since its inception. So please join me in welcoming Paul for the seminar.
All right, guys. I'm going to talk about how I fish, where I fish, and why I fish. At the end of this, we're going to have a 10 or 15 minute questions. Y'all can ask me anything you want. Say you got a cove that always has fish in it every year. I think those fish were born in that cove and they come back to it every time. I really do. I think it's like people. You're born in a town, you're raised in a town, a lot of people will stay in that town. I think it's the same thing with crappie. I may be wrong, I don't know. This is my theory of it. I also think big fish do not school together. I think big fish are roamers, just like big bass. Big bass are roamers. I've never been to enough areas yet to prove it right that I'm wrong, because the timber I always fish, you may only catch one big fish and you may catch 10 or 15 little fish around it. It's very seldom you'll ever catch 4 or 5 big fish out of one tree. The way I break a lake down is we break a lake down, if it's got a dual arm, say it's got an arm like this, I'm going to go pre-fish. Don't get me wrong. I've been to Louisville. But I go to Louisville because I don't want nobody to see me. Because everybody knows where I fish. And it's hard for me to hide because everybody looks for us. But I try to sneak off every now and then and do a little bit of pre-fishing ahead of time. Fork gave me fits. Me and Jerry fished a Big Fish Cliff tournament down there, 3 years ago? We fished a bridge and we caught 8 or 10 fish. They weren't a good fish in the bunch. We fished 150 trees out there and we ain't caught a fish on that. And it was the prettiest looking trees. We went on the other side and we fished a bunch of trees. We couldn't get bit. So I knew we were going to have a tournament down there. Last year, 4 weeks before the tournament, me and Gary go down there. We fished all day long and caught one fish, and we caught it under a bridge. All day long, one fish. The next weekend I go back, I said, I'm not going to let this lake beat me. I took what I did the first time and didn't do any of that the next time. And I caught 8 fish. If you ever notice, a lot of people, and I get this a lot, and I'm sure these guys here do too, they'll be on a guide trip, and you tell your clients, put it right here. They drop it in there and go, oh, I got a bite. Too late. What do you mean you got a bite? You should have jerked. It don't cost nothing to jerk. When somebody says I got a bite, they don't know what they're doing. Jerk. It don't cost any more. I can let, honestly, the way I fish with those Pro Angler poles and the Rocky Top jig, and I use 10-pound clear blue string. That's all I've ever used in my life. I'm a little bit stubborn, old timer, what you call it. I don't have a GPS. I don't have a side imaging. I don't even know how to turn a cell phone on half the time. But I find brush piles. I can tell you any brush pile I've ever found from here to Ohio. I can guarantee you I could go to Ohio and the brush piles and know how to mark them and find them again. Because I don't have all that fancy stuff, and I have to look for stuff to line up. And that's how I find a lot of my brush piles.